Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Leatherman Raptor Rescue versus the Leatherman Raptor Response and what my experience has been with the all-new Leatherman Raptor Responses. Now I'm going to tell you that right up front that I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the minority opinion on this one because I find myself really liking the Response over the regular, the original Leatherman Raptor, or now the Leatherman Raptor Rescue, from a comfortability standpoint. Now, in the comparison where we highlighted the Leatherman Raptor Response initially, we went over some of the nuanced differences between these two. Namely, what you really lose by going with the Response over the Leatherman Raptor Rescue is you lose this tool, which includes the strap cutter and the O2 wrench. Now, on this one, the O2 wrench is set into the handle, so you don't lose that feature. The last feature that you lose is a glass break. So here is, and granted, I'm not looking at this from a first responder's perspective, but even as a first responder, I would think that there would really not be that much need for the strap cutter when you have scissors that can do an even better job, or shears that can do an even better job of cutting straight through strapping and webbing material with the greatest of ease, where it's even more cumbersome to even pull that out. And that's just a personal opinion. It's not that I have experience using that tool as such, but my intuition tells me that if I was in that kind of situation and I already had the Raptors out, the first thing I'm going to do is just pull the scissors in there, cut the seat belt or cut the webbing, and be done with it. Now, the one thing that might sway some people is the fact that it doesn't have the glass break. I personally think that there's better glass breaks out there. First of all, this is an impact brake, so you have to physically swing it, and you run the risk of damaging your own self with breaking glass, as opposed to some glass brakes where they're spring loaded, which I personally think would be, if I was in a first responder's job, I think I would probably lean more towards getting something like that, as opposed to relying on something like like the glass break within the Leatherman Raptor. Now, and the reason why that I personally lean towards the Response is I don't see myself missing those features. But more importantly than that is the actual comfortability factor for me. So the Leatherman Raptor is actually a little bit longer. The original, the Raptor Rescue is going to be a little bit longer, and so for that reason, you would think that you would be able to get more leverage. I find it to be that they're on par with one another. And the reason I say that is because of the way you have to grip into these. Now, granted, I have pretty large hands, and so, but to get a good grip onto the Leatherman Raptors, I have to choke 3 fingers within this hole, and then, it's a little on the awkward side. It's not that I've had any trouble with it, but if you're using them for long periods of time, I could see that becoming a point of fatigue. Wherein the Leatherman Raptor Response, because of how they designed them, where you can put your forefinger here, 2 middle fingers here, and your pinky on the outside edge, you're getting the same amount of leverage. In fact, in some cases, you might get even a little bit more because your hands just rest more comfortably within those handles. So I find that from the comfort standpoint, that the new Response actually feels better, way better to me, actually. Now, the one other point that the Response will have over the Rescue, and this is if you are, well, I guess it's more than that. I was going to say if you are in a first responder's job, this might be what actually sways you, but I think it probably goes across the board, and that's the finish within the steel of these two. So on the regular Raptor, or the Raptor Rescue, it has a matte finish, which can be prone to flash rusting if they're not properly maintained. Where in the new Response, they have a polished finish, and so they are much more resistant to that type of rusting. I would imagine for first responders, it's going to make it a lot easier to clean as well. Now, neither one of them are the easiest things to get apart, but they can be disassembled in order to clean them correctly. And another point, when cleaning, like putting them through an autoclave, the handles on here are aluminum, so you can just stick the whole thing in there and clean them all up. These, you can do that too, I would imagine, but you're more apt to damage these handles than you would be for the aluminum. So overall, from the comfortability standpoint of it, I actually like these more than I do the originals. And from what I've heard and what I've seen, I think that's probably going to put me with a minority opinion. It's just my personal taste and opinion as to why I lean more towards a response, because I'm not a first responder, and so I'm not looking for that glass break or that strap cutter, which I honestly, like I mentioned before, I don't think is a big deal or a huge loss. And I think that the finish and the comfort level that you get, or a little bit more comfortability with the Leatherman Raptor Response, actually kind of nullifies any advantage that the original Raptor or the Raptor Rescue may have over it. So these are my thoughts and my opinions. I definitely lean towards the Response. I find them to be more comfortable overall. Now, before I go, there's one thing that I'm going to say that is a detractor between the two. So first of all, actually, I guess it's going to be 2 points. So first of all, the new Response does not come with a case, and I don't have my case out here for the regular Raptors. But two things of note. First of all, this is going to have a case that comes with it, so this is only a pocket carry. Whereas this one, you can carry it in a pocket carry, or you can carry it in a case in the closed or open orientation. Now, the difference here is that the originals, when they fold down to a little bit slimmer of a profile. So if we can kind of set those over the top of one another. Let me see if I can get a little better angle there. This one is actually somewhere on the neighborhood of about 3/16 thicker overall when it's folded down into its compact position. For me, that's no big deal because I'm not carrying these. These are actually sitting in my truck console to have them at the ready. And I like the fact that they fold down because, in your vehicles, it just takes up a little bit less space. So that's something I like very much with the Leatherman Raptor Response. This is definitely my pick, but I can completely understand if this one is your pick. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.